morning. This is a few tips for if you haven't got a motorbike license and you're thinking about getting one. I did it all the wrong way. And by the way, anything I tell you on this channel is my personal experience. I do not have enough experience in most stuff to give you any great advice. I could tell you the best way of not doing something. All right. Also, probably a point of interest, anybody who's come from my other channels here will know that I'm bipolar. So this can affect the way I enjoy my riding, and I'll explain as I go. Basically, some days when you've got anxiety, I call it the fear, and it can impeach on the enjoyment of my riding because I'll worry more about stuff than I would on other days. Probably not a bad thing in some ways, but anyway, I digress. So one of the first things I would say is if you're thinking about doing your full license, go out, get enough kit to be able to do your CBT. All right. In saying that, some of them they will lay on, they'll lay on the helmets anyway because you've got the headsets, but they will give you a jacket. But as for the leggings, when I did mine, they didn't. And then do not do what I did. Do not just get a 600 and go out on the road, which was totally wrong in every way, right? And I nearly fell foul of the law. So don't do what I do. Go out and get a 125 and something that looks like it's going to be comfortable. All right. I can't tell you that when you first start riding a motorbike, you find parts of your body that ache more than you think they should. And if you've got the fear like I did, you'll have the death grip, which is normal. Right, that goes, by the way. And your entire body will be tense until you calm down and get some sort of confidence in what you're doing. Now, say for instance you do your CBT, you pass your CBT. Apparently I had a friend who knew somebody who ran up the back of the instructor and still managed to pass his CBT. And I know somebody personally who didn't pass their CBT, but I'm not going to be mean, so I'll leave it there. Anyway, so you do your CBT, you've got that right. Now, get something that you can ride around on that's not full of power, right? That isn't aggressive, that's going to be reliable and not let you down, right? Something that's not too flash so that if you drop it, you won't be broken-hearted, because the chances are you will drop it, all right? Some people drop it on their CBT, some people drop it later. It's one of them things, all right? Now, my generation were the ones that used to ride around on bikes with no crash helmets, no anything. And we come from the school of hard knocks, and unfortunately that will go on into your motorcycling career if you're not careful. Why do I need leggings? I'm all right. I've got a helmet and all that stuff. No. You may think that having all the kit on a 125 makes you look a dick, but you'd look more of a dick if you went up the road at say 20 mile an hour, 30 mile an hour, 40, whatever it was, hopefully not, and took half the skin off your legs and your arms and everything else. So who looks a dick? The bloke that's got all the kit, or the woman that's got all the kit on, or the person in shorts and a t-shirt that then comes off and takes half of his wrapping off? Not good. Do not be pressured into going faster than you want to go. Do not be pressured into riding when you don't feel like it. Do not be pressured into going on longer rides or places that you don't feel comfortable with. Okay? I was. Okay? I went out with mates who had, one of them had a ZX-10 and the other one had at the time an R6, and they were competitive. Now they went slow, they said, for me, right? These are mates of mine, by the way, but for me it was still way too quick for what I was comfortable with, and I should have just said no, but I didn't. All right, so don't go into that. Don't be made to go out of your limits, because to be honest, your limits are going to be next to nothing because you don't have the experience. My daughter, I have just bought a, what the hell is this? I think of Johnny Mathis, right? So it's a Zontes Mathis bike, 400 quid with MOT. right? And it's in good shape. It's not done massive miles. The engine's strong. Now I'm sending it to the sun god to give it the once over. Well, the front brake caliper is binding on, but it hasn't been used. So the other day I went all the way down to, well, it's 60 miles away and rode this thing back, right? That was an experience, I might like to add, because this 125 is more for short trips, so I found out. And when the owner of said bike before you says, don't believe the petrol gauge, it lies, there's plenty in there, don't believe him, because it ran out of fuel on the way back. Luckily, these tanks have a reserve, but it did take me back to my childhood, all right? Because I had a mate who's a bit older and he had a Honda, is it a GS100 or something like that? This was the best thing since sliced bread, we thought, right? But it's forever run out of fuel because we just didn't have any money. So you're always putting it onto reserve, and then they'd run out the reserve, and then you'd end up pushing it. But yes, not having all the gear, there's a good example. My brother got on it with his mate, and obviously they've no experience, and they're just riding like dickheads right in the middle of summer, and all he had on was shorts. And on some gravel he put it down, and he didn't just put it down, it ended up with the exhaust on a summer's day on his leg, and he's haemophiliac as well, so that wasn't a good idea, but he burned. So there you are. Don't be a dick, because you don't have to hit your head very hard, by the way, to be killed. Or worse still, and this might sound odd to you, I would rather be killed outright than be left disabled, because I'm an able-bodied to some extent. You know, I'm not the fittest creature in the world, but I'm an able-bodied creature. To have all that taken off me, right, I don't think I could cope. So, wear the gear. And ride for as long as you want on the 125 until you've built up your experience, your confidence and everything else, and then think about going for your full license, all right? I wish that I'd done it that way. I do. But I did it the hard way, and now I think I have the fear some days, probably because of the way I started. So that's a bit of a regret. Speaking of bikes, that's one of those 4-stroke, what do they call them? They're not a crosser because they've got road tyres on them. See what I mean? I'm not that experienced. I quite fancy one of those actually, but I think I'd look like a bit of a hoodlum on it. Anyway, I'm going to ask some of you here that watch this, have any of you been to is it the bike shed in London where you can actually ride through the place? Any of you been there? Is it any good? What are your experiences of that? Let me know. So, going back to the Johnny Mathis bike, right? Huge tank on it. 20 quid nearly fill it up for a 125. That should just go forever now until she's bored of the bike. But it's a lovely ride. It's very comfortable. It makes you feel very safe. Oh, that's where that fuel tanker went over yesterday. Well, the day before, blocked the motorway all day. One of my mates was here for 8 hours, parked up. No nightcap. And actually, by the way, I digress. All of this hard shoulder was taken up, or back that way, was taken up with trucks that had run out of time, and they had to sleep on the hard shoulder. I've never seen that before. There you go. I hope you can still hear me, because this is a different truck, some of you may notice. Mine's poorly and has a misfire, and I can't work it out. Anyway, so yeah, so this weekend hopefully we're going to go out with Dorter for the first time. My plan is, because we've got headsets, I'm going to take her to a car park, because she's already done a CVT in a while. I'm going to take her to a car park, we'll go round and round so she's getting confidence, and then we're going to go around all the side roads around my little village and just get her used to going at whatever speed she feels comfortable at, as long as I think it's sensible, right? And we'll just build up her confidence, and she can go as slow as she wants, and she can build up until she feels comfortable enough to go onto a bigger road, or I think she's safe enough to go on a bigger road, and then we'll just start out real gentle like that, because she used to have a phobia of bikes, because as a little kid she was put on this bike and she couldn't get off it, nobody helped her down, and she fell off the bloody thing, and it took me a while to get her out of that phobia, and I did that on the FJR 1300. I put, it had the panniers on it, it had the back box seat, she didn't feel like she could fall off the back. I had one of them, what I call a seat belt on, so you got the handles, so she could hold on to that, and I just went very slowly until she built up her confidence, and now she loves it. So there you are. So that's just one tip, okay? But don't be pushed into anything or pressurized. And also, don't have a preconceived idea of what bike you're really going to have, because you don't know until basically you've ridden a bike or two to actually know what you like, or if you like just one bike. Turns out now I have 4. I want to get rid of the Bandit because that's what I learned on, and it's a great bike, it's lovely, it's done me well, but it can go on now to somebody else. It's only got 20-something thousand on it. One owner before me, 60 years old when he bought it, 80 when he sold it because he couldn't get his leg over the thing, poor boy. So he was totally loved and looked after and not racked. So I'll be selling that because I want to get myself a bagger. Some of you will laugh. I had a dream years ago that I would be riding something. It wasn't very descriptive, but it was a bit like, you know that bike you rode in Terminator? It was something similar to that, but it wasn't necessarily a Harley Davidson. And I was pretty much my tits on, and I like the look of them. And I think that I've got the ZX10. By the way, that's another video. Do not be pressurized into buying ridiculous bikes that you should not be on, for fuck's sake. Yes, I was drunk and I bought the bloody thing. Not the best idea. We'll talk about that another time. The FJR 1300, people would have said I wasn't ready for that, but the bike will only go as fast as you let it. And I have to say, I've been over France, Belgium on it. Oh, it was lovely. That's another video. I'll get onto that another time. But yeah, this may well be the channel of what not to do. You know, I'll fuck up and then tell you why you shouldn't have done it. Story of my life, really. I am the story of hard knocks. But I was always one. I passed my test as a kid and then got a 2-litre Capri. Most people were out there getting Minis or Metros or Fiestas, or maybe even a 1300 Mark III Escort like my brother did. Not me. Nah. I'll have a wayward arse and end stupid 2-litre unreliable bag of shit that'll teach me mechanics as well as roadcraft. And it did. I was known as Simon with the green Capri and the bonnet up. And it was. I used to shear alternators off the side of the engine of that thing on a regular. The reason being, it didn't have a rev limiter. So for me, that was go as fast as the thing will go. So you just used to vibrate yourself off. There you go. That's another story. This is one of those things that it's not just going to be about motorbikes. And at some point, when the bikes come back from the Sun God, right, and that's my Bandit and the Johnny Mathis, I'll get them all out and I'll put them up next to each other, and you can see what I've got and what I think about them for what it's worth, my little experience. People ask me what bikes have I got, and I end up saying, well, I've got a green one, a blue one and a black one. They're like, sorry, it's a 600 fared Bandit, if you want some details, and it's the 19 plate Kawasaki ZX10R, is it? I mean, it's like 205 brake horsepower. It's ridiculous. It's got all the driver aids, but that's no good if you end up thinking that you Barry Sheen, give it a handful and end up killing yourself. So I have definitely gone out slowly on that, but I'll give you a full video about that. And I know there's going to be criticism in the comments. I'm expecting this, and yes, I did it all wrong. And I'll admit, and I'm lucky to be here in some ways. But I didn't get a motorbike because I was fucking terrified of the things, and I still have a healthy fear. And when some of my mates go off blatting up, I don't feel that I need to keep up with them. So the amount of times that I've ended up, well, I don't know, a mile back, half mile, whatever it is, I'll meet you there. I'll get there when I get there. But sometimes when they go shooting off, I'm worried that I'm going to come around a bend and find out that they've gone through the edge. One of my mates is called Airborne now, and I've called him Airborne because he ended up airborne. And that's a story for, I think I'll get him to on camera and talk about that. I'm expecting a lot from my friends because I have no problem speaking on a camera, as you've probably noticed. I don't bother me. It's a piece of plastic, you speak to it. It's almost like what they call it, the internal monologue. So internal monologue basically is where you talk inside your head about things like, you know, you'd be talking about, you go, fucking hell mate, come on, get on with it, but you'll be thinking it, and you'll also think over thoughts in your head. Well, I get that. So when you're riding around, the internal monologue's going, don't do it, don't do it, and you'll almost argue with yourself in your head, why? And you're like, nah, it's not worth it, mate. The internal monologue has been a godsend and also a nightmare, because when you try and sleep at night, the internal monologue's still rabbiting away. You're like, shut up! But it doesn't want to. How many of you get the internal monologue going on at you for all reasons? How many times has that internal monologue saved your life? It's saved mine a couple of times. But anyway, so yeah, I'm expecting that my friends are going to be able to come on the camera and not just freeze up. So this will be good. I don't think daughter's going to have a problem because she's very much like myself. She doesn't give a shit. Horizontal, doesn't give a fuck. Gary, or Spew, he might be a bit shy. So we will see. But I've yet to work out if I can link the Ocado, which I've got, to this phone. Because if I can, that would be a start. But obviously I want to get, when I go out on the bike, I want to be able to have some sort of camera so we can talk about what we're doing and all the rest of it. But I've yet to work that part out, which is why at the moment you're seeing it like this, and then you'll see me stood next to the bikes talking you through it and all the rest of it. But there you go. Anyway, just a few tips and a bit of a waffle. All right, catch you in a bit.